Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to 365 Analytics. And today we are here. It is Tuesday, as always, and we are back with episode 2 of the 365 Recap, a new series I am starting this year, this football season on the channel, where we are basically going to recap the full weekend of football, everything that happened through college football, NFL, the new AP poll that just came out on Sunday and everything all going along with the football world right now. If you guys do enjoy the video, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications for more videos like this as always. And without further ado, let's get right into recapping. We're going to start off with college football. It's basically what we're going to do around here during the football season. We're going to start off with college football, then go into the NFL, talk about it a little bit. But let's start with the college games. We're going to go over some of the top 25 games that happened this weekend. And on Friday night, the Indiana Hoosiers absolutely killed Indiana State. Kurt Cignetti, ranked team 3-0, 73 to nothing. Indiana takes down Indiana State in a rivalry game. They win on Friday night. On Saturday, Ohio State beat Ohio 37-9. Jeremiah Smith 9 for 153 and a touchdown. Julian Sain 347 and 3 touchdowns. Another rivalry game. Penn State absolutely kills Villanova. Florida and LSU played a decent game. Very defensive game. DJ Lagway, I think, threw 5 interceptions. I'm almost certain DJ Lagway threw 5 interceptions. It was not a good game for him. LSU defense is absolutely feasting. Garrett Nussmeier and the boys didn't even play that well for LSU, and LSU still ended up prevailing because of the play of the defense and how bad DJ Lagway played. It's going to take some developing for him. He just does not have it yet. I'm still confident in him. I'm still confident he can be a really good quarterback at the college football level, but he is just not there yet. He's going to need some time, and it's going to be interesting to see what Florida can do this season. Now they're under 500, unranked. They were unranked going into the week, so LSU ranked number 3 in the country. They win 20-10. Oregon on Big Noon Saturday beats Northwestern 34-13. A game a lot of people were hyped up about. Number 18 South Florida versus number 5 Miami. Carson Beck and the Hurricanes absolutely killed them 49-12. This game was in a weather delay for a little while, but South Florida, it was a great first 2 weeks, beating Boise State, beating the Gators, but everything good does not last forever. That's the bottom line. Um, Miami's just a clearly superior team here. They didn't take South Florida lightly after the 2 weeks they had, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. But Miami, I picked them to win big in this game, and I had no doubts that they were going to win this game. South Florida falls to the Hurricanes. The game of the weekend right here, in both college football and the NFL, in my opinion. Georgia, Tennessee, Dawgs, Vols. Great game. Goes into overtime. 44-41. Georgia prevails in the end. For Tennessee, the leading passer in the game, Joey Aguilar, 24-36, 371, and 4 touchdowns. He had a great game. Started off hot. Tennessee was up 21-7 in the first quarter. They were firing on all cylinders. Hit a wall. Georgia started playing a little bit better. And in the end, they went back and forth. Tennessee missed a key field goal at the end of regulation that would have won the game. Josh Heupel didn't look too thrilled about it, but they go to overtime. In the end, Georgia ends up winning in overtime. The Dogs on the road in Tennessee in Rocky Top end up getting the win and going to 3-0. Tennessee drops 2-1. Two very good football teams playing in Tennessee there, but great game. One of the best of the weekend, definitely. UTEP, Texas, 27-10. Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns win. This is another very good football game here. Texas A&M, Notre Dame, the rematch of Week 1 last year in College Station, where Notre Dame won last year, Week 1. But this time, Texas A&M prevails 41-40. Last second touchdown. Marcel Reed escaped pressure to throw a 11-yard touchdown pass to Nate Berg. I don't even know how to say his last name. Apparently, he was the blocking tight end they were saying on the broadcast. He's a big blocking tight end, was never really a receiving threat, and he catches the game-winning touchdown. Marcel Reed, 17 of 37, 360, and 2 touchdowns. Jeremiah Love, good game as usual. Craver had a lot of good plays, 207 yards and a touchdown for him. Notre Dame drops to 0-2, and they are still in the top 25. We'll talk more about that in a second when we get to the AP poll. But Texas A&M undefeated. They rose in the rankings. We'll talk about that again. We'll talk about that more in a second. But 41-40, Great football game on NBC Saturday night. So Texas A&M goes 3-0. Notre Dame drops to 0-2 and very, very much hurts their college football playoff hopes. Illinois beats Western Michigan 38-0. Vanderbilt absolutely knocks the socks off of South Carolina. Diego Pavia, 18 for 25, 177, and two touchdowns. He is molding himself into a very, very good quarterback. Vanderbilt these past few years looks like they are a very, very serviceable SEC team, and they're not really bottom of the barrel in the SEC team as among SEC teams anymore. Obviously, 3-0, 1-0 in the conference now over the win in South Carolina. Big, the blowout ranked win on the road, not much better than this. There's really not much better you can do. Lenora Sellers was he was in literally a blender all game. Vanderbilt Vanderbilt prevails. They go to 3-0. South Carolina knocks it 2-1, and with Diego Pavia and Harbor being the top performers in this game. Another one, college football had some very, very interesting games this weekend. Clemson, Georgia Tech. Clemson, we talked about it last week, been a very, very sluggish start to their season. Cade Klubnik, I've never been a believer in him. Obviously, Dabo Swinney's one of the best head coaches in college football history. Cade Klubnik, I've never been a fan of him. People were calling him Heisman caliber going into the year. I thought Clemson would be a very good team, but I was never a big fan of Cade Klubnik, and now they've started bad. Lost to LSU week one, and a dogfight with Troy in week two, end up mounting a second half comeback, and then week three, Georgia Tech starts 3-0 at home, game-winning field goal. Ended up being like a fire drill play. I honestly missed this game. I didn't see this game, but I saw the highlight. Ended up being a fire drill play. They kicked the game-winning field goal with clock expiring, and Georgia Tech wins a key game at home to go to 3-0. Oklahoma beats Temple. Iowa State prevails over Arkansas State. Very, very good. Some firepower in the SEC here. Arkansas and Ole Miss. Talon Green played a good game, but Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss is just too much for Arkansas to deal with. Ole Miss, the better football team here. They go to 3-0, 2-0 in the SEC. Alabama knocked the Sox off Wisconsin. Ty Simpson had a pretty good game. 24-29, 382, and four touchdowns. Alabama was just clearly the better team than Wisconsin in this game. A lot of people were on Wisconsin here because of that week one Alabama lost to Florida State. But I've been critical of Kalen DeBoer. I've been critical of Alabama since they lost Nick Saban, but we still can't count them out. Ryan Williams is still that guy, 5 for 165 and two touchdowns. Alabama is here to stay, and let's see if they can mount a season and rebound from that Florida State week one loss to get a college football playoff spot. Utah beats Wyoming. Texas Tech knocks the socks off Oregon State. Michigan wins big. Auburn beats South Alabama, and Missouri beats Louisiana 52-10. We'll talk about the Auburn Oklahoma game coming up next week. We'll talk about that right now, actually. Let's do a little bit of preview to next week, week four. Ranked play starting on Saturday. No ranked games on Friday night this week. Texas Tech, Utah. That's 17-16. Is that Big Noon Saturday? I think that might be Big Noon Saturday. That's a pretty good game. 17-16, both 3-0, both Big 12 teams. I assume that's Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt on the call for that game. Very good game. UAB and Tennessee. Oregon State, Oregon, rivalry game there in Eugene. Florida State, Kent State. This, in my opinion, is the game of the weekend. Auburn, Oklahoma, John Mateer versus Auburn at home. First game in SEC play for both these teams, both coming in at 3-0. This will be a pivotal win for both of these teams. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens there. Tulane, Ole Miss, Michigan, Nebraska will be an interesting one. Nebraska, Dylan Raiola. Let's see at home, the Cornhuskers, can they upset Michigan in Lincoln? Notre Dame should get back on track versus Purdue at home. Georgia Tech, now in the AP poll at number 18, starting the season 3-0, hosts Temple. South Carolina and Missouri. South Carolina now unranked after the blowout loss to Vandy. Missouri hosts them. South Carolina 0-1 in SEC play. Missouri first SEC game of the year. And this will be the game where college game day is going. Florida, Miami, 7:30 on Saturday night. Obviously a rivalry game. Both teams in the state of Florida. DJ Lagway versus Carson Beck. But I expect Miami to roll here. Florida does not have enough firepower to compete with them. And Miami's clearly the better team this year, so give me the Hurricanes to get that win. Illinois, Indiana at 7:30 on Saturday. Pretty good game. Number 9 versus number 19, two Big Ten teams. Their first game in Big Ten play on the year. That will be Big Ten Saturday night on NBC. Rivalry game, Southeastern Louisiana versus LSU. Sam Houston takes on Texas, and Michigan State and USC after dark. Both teams 3-0. The USC starts the season 1-0 in the Big Ten, and they are playing at 11 o'clock at night on Fox. I don't know if I'm going to watch that one with the NFL starting on Sunday morning, but yeah, that's basically what's going on in college football. And now let's quickly go over the AP poll before we go over the NFL this past week and preview week 3. We're in week 3 of the NFL now. So yeah, let's go over the AP poll right now. And here is your week 4 updated AP Top 25 in college football. Ohio State still stays number 1, Penn State number 2, LSU, Miami, Georgia, Oregon, all undefeated. Florida State now all the way up to number 7 after their disastrous season last year. They're 2-0. They're coming off a bye. Texas still at number 8. They're down 1. They're 2-1 now. Only loss being Ohio State. Followed by Illinois. Texas A&M now cracks in the top 10 after the big win over Notre Dame. They're 3-0. John Latier and the Sooners at 3-0 and 11. Iowa State. They're the only team with 4 games played on this list because they played in week 0 versus Kansas State. They're number 12 in the country, up 2 spots at 4-0. Followed by Ole Miss. Alabama's back in the top 15, still very in the thick of playoff contention, even with the loss to FSU week 1. Ty Simpson had a very good rebound game. They're 2-1 at number 14. Tennessee Volunteers don't go anywhere with the loss to Georgia. They played a very competitive game. Joey Aguilar played well, so I think that's warranted to stay there. Utah goes up 4 spots. Texas Tech, Georgia Tech, unranked last week. They're now all the way up to number 18 in the top 25, 3-0 star. I think it's our best start in years, I believe. I saw stat. Indiana, Vandy is now top 25 going into week 4. Diego Pavia and the boys started off very well. They're no longer a pushover in the SEC, which is very good to see. Bryce Underwood and the Wolverines, 21. Auburn and Missouri, 2 SEC teams, 2 undefeated teams, both up 2 spots, 22 and 23 respectively. And this is the one right here that's very controversial. Notre Dame 0-2, down 16 spots. Not a single win going into week 4. They're still in the top 25. I get it. 2 quality losses. They lost to Miami. They lost to Texas A&M. 2 very quality losses, but I don't think a team that's 0-2, I get it, they had a bye week. I don't think a team that is 0-2, stands at 0-2 going into week 4, really deserves to have a spot in the AP top 25 in week 4. So I would argue against that, but they're still a very good team. They'll still be fine, and I'd even say they still have a chance at the college football playoffs even after the bad start. And USC at 3-0, unranked last week, sneaks in the top 25. Coaches poll, nothing really interesting here. Um, the only thing I would say USF sneaks out of the top 25 after Miami absolutely killed them. They had a great resume the first 2 weeks of the year. I mean, I guess, but you could still argue it could be in the top 25. South Carolina is still in the coaches poll. That's pretty interesting. After the blowout loss to Vandy, you have Notre Dame still in there. Georgia Tech's in there too. So nothing really that interesting here. Illinois is a little high on this, 1 spot higher than the AP poll. So yeah, that is your week 4 college football AP poll. And now let's get into the NFL portion of this video. And we have a lot to talk about there, especially with the Bengals standpoint of things. So let's talk about the National Football League. Going to the NFL standpoint of things, this week was a rough week for one way or another. As I talked about yesterday, Joe Burrow got injured. He is expected to miss 3 months. And quite frankly, I'd be shocked if he steps on the field again this season. 2 of my fantasy teams dropped to 0-2, while the other one went to 2-0, but I am 0-2 in 2 fantasy leagues, which is imperative. My game picks this week were generationally bad. Like when I talk about generationally bad, I talk about generationally bad. We'll talk more about that on Thursday, so I'm not going to yap much about that because game picks come out on Thursday. But it was bad. Just know that. It was horrible, my game picks. So let's talk about some NFL here. Commanders Packers on Thursday night. I picked the Commanders. What do you know? Green Bay wins at home. Jordan Love and Tucker Kraft absolutely tearing it up. Jordan Love 19 for 31, 292 and 2. Tucker Kraft gave you a 124-yard game and a touchdown. Green Bay goes 2-0. They look like a dangerous defense. They look like a Super Bowl contender through 2 weeks with the blowout win over Detroit and the win over Washington. And this is at the top since the Bengals are my favorite team on ESPN, obviously, and they're my favorite team in the league, obviously. So the Bengals, they start 2-0. If you would have told me the Cincinnati Bengals start 2-0 and I would feel the way I did today, I would be shocked, quite frankly. But at the same time, I'm not shocked. We've seen this before. Joe Burrow injured again for likely what's a season ender. This time it's turf toe. An injury you rarely see in quarterbacks. Basically, his big toe damn near fell off. That's what they're saying. But depressing. Basically ends the Bengals Super Bowl hopes this season. Obviously, I still think Jake Browning will be competitive. I think Jake Browning will lead them to some wins. I think Jake Browning will do some good. I'm not saying I think Jake Browning sucks. And I think he'll make the Bengals competitive and still a decent team to watch. But it's so disappointing, man. It's so disappointing. I have a trip booked to Cincinnati next month to watch them play the Steelers in the whiteout game on Thursday night. I'm going to that game. Then I have a trip booked to Miami in December, the Sunday before Christmas, to watch them play the Dolphins. And that Miami game, especially, if in the end it doesn't matter at all, it's going to be pretty disappointing. But they're 2-0. Pretty tough schedule ahead. Minnesota Vikings this week, who are starting Carson Wentz. 31-27, Jake Browning rallies as they beat the Jaguars. Bengals 2-0, Jaguars 1-1. Giants and Cowboys play an overtime game, 40-37. The Cowboys win. Again, I picked the Giants here as my upset of the week, and they almost delivered. I can't really fault him. Russell Wilson goes 30-41, 450 yards, a career high for Russell Wilson with the New York Giants and 3 touchdowns. He played a damn good game. Javonte Williams backed up his performance in week 1 with another good one, and Malik Neighbors goes 9 for 167 and 2. I mean, the Giants almost came through for me, man. It would have been a big win, big upset, but Dallas, in the end, their offense does enough. Very offensive game, very entertaining game. Dallas comes away with the win in the end. Detroit absolutely kills Chicago. Jared Goff throws 5 touchdowns, three to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jahmyr Gibbs plays well. Romo Dunze. Not many people are talking about it. Romo Dunze, I predicted early in the season that he would have a breakout season. I thought it's his year with the Bears, and he has had a very good first 2 weeks. This week going 7 for 128 and 2. Very, very interesting there. Rams go 2-0. They knock off the Titans 33-19. Stafford plays well. Another very good game this week. Patriots, Dolphins 33-27. Drake May accounts for 3 touchdowns, and Patriots top Dolphins 33-27. Very good game. Went down to the last second. Patriots get a fourth down sack on Tua Tagovailoa. It was Milton Williams. I'm just not sure about Tua, man. I'm not sure about Tua. I don't think he's great. They have a short week against the Bills, and I'm not gonna lie. I think Mike McDaniel's gone Friday morning. I think they're gonna lose to the Bills on Thursday. Spoiler alert. I'm picking the Bills on Thursday. And I think Mike McDaniel will be fired on Friday morning or Saturday morning. His Dolphins center will be over because it's been long overdue now, and it's just over for him. So yeah, 49ers beat the Saints 26-21. Mac Jones had a decent game, 26-39, 279 and 3 touchdowns. Very good game for him. Buffalo absolutely kills the Jets. Josh Allen didn't even have to do anything special. 14 for 25, 148, and they beat the Bills. I mean, they beat the Jets 30-10. Pittsburgh beats Seattle. I mean, Seattle beats Pittsburgh, sorry, 31-17 in a boneheaded play. A kickoff return where Caleb Johnson, the Steelers running back out of Iowa, is returning the kick, makes a boneheaded mistake, gives the Seahawks a free touchdown, basically forgot about the new kickoff rules. Seattle gets a free touchdown, and that basically caused them to lose the game. Mike Tomlin said Caleb Johnson will not be returning kicks for the foreseeable future, so Seattle wins. They go to 1-1. Pittsburgh drops to 1-1. Baltimore kills Cleveland. Thought this game would be a little bit closer than it was, but Baltimore in the end, way better team. Lamar Jackson played well. Quinshon Judkins with his 10 carries, with his limited volume, 61 yards, very good game for him. I am confident in him that he's gonna have a very good season. Already making his debut in week 2. Denver and Indianapolis played a very good game. Spencer Schrader game-winning field goal had a 60-yard miss. Denver, they touched the center, tried to block the kick, and Denver throws the game away. Bo Nix and the boys don't get it done. But Daniel Jones and the Colts start 2-0, a team I was very, very low on. 23 34, 316, and a touchdown. Another good performance for Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor plays very well. Troy Franklin's a big pickup on fantasy waiver wires this week. He has a very good game. Arizona tops Carolina, a game where Carolina almost came back, but Arizona gets it done in the end. A pretty underwhelming Super Bowl rematch. Philadelphia wins 20-17. They go to 2-0. Chiefs drop to 0-2. I do think they'll be fine. I'll talk more about that on Thursday in the picks video. But very defensive game. Jalen Hurts didn't even have 100 yards passing, I don't think. Barkley had 22 for 88 and a touchdown. And Philly tops KC. A very defensive game on Sunday Night Football, 22-6. The Atlanta Falcons get a road win over the Minnesota Vikings. JJ McCarthy is now injured. It will be Carson Wentz playing against the Bengals next week. Only one touchdown scored in this game. It was Tyler Algier. Bijan Robinson has a very good game. Justin Jefferson, he had basically one very good catch that went for like 60 yards, and only two other catches for 20 in the entire game. And the Monday Night Football doubleheader where Tampa Bay and Houston played. Baker Mayfield game-winning drive in the end. Rashad White runs a touchdown. Baker, Mayfield, and the boys stay gritty. Tampa Bay starts 2-0 for the fifth straight year. Houston drops to 0-2. CJ Stroud, pretty underwhelming game. He needs to start picking up because we are really relying on that rookie year when ranking him in quarterback rankings. He really hasn't backed it up since then. But Tampa Bay starts 2-0 for the fifth straight year. And to cap off the week, last night, a late game kicked off at 10 p.m., didn't end till 1 in the morning. Los Angeles beats Las Vegas 20-9. Geno Smith threw three interceptions. I don't think he completed a pass over 10 yards all night long. I picked the Raiders. So, basically, a very disastrous week in my game picks, but hopefully we can rebound next week. Probably not, though, because I suck at picking games in the NFL. But what more do you do? Let's preview week three real quick before we hop off here. Miami and Buffalo on Thursday night. Could be a slaughter. Who knows? As I said, I think Mike McDaniel will be fired on Friday morning. I think Buffalo will win this game and divisional matchup on Thursday night. Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo on the call for the number one game on CBS. Um, not what the CBS crew expected. I'll tell you that much. No JJ McCarthy, no Joe Burrow, obviously. No Aaron Jones, no Christian Darrisaw. I mean, no Shamar Stewart. I mean, it's going to be a pretty banged up game for both teams here, but Cincinnati, Minnesota, 2-0, 1-1. Packers, Browns on Fox. Colts, Titans, divisional game, 2-0 versus 0-2. Pittsburgh, New England, 2-1-1 teams face off in Gillette Stadium. Potentially the game of the week right here. Playoff rematch of last year. Matthew Stafford versus Jalen Hurts. 2-0 versus 2-0 in Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Should be a very, very, very good game. I think Joe Davis and Greg Olsen are calling this game. Jets Bucks in Tampa Bay. Raiders Commies in Washington. Jane Daniels' status is in question for this game. He does have an injury, so we'll see what ends up happening. Could be Marcus Mariota starting. That could open up a window for the Raiders to potentially upset and win this game, but we'll see. NFC South matchup in Carolina as the Panthers host the Falcons. Houston, Jacksonville, very interesting game. I don't even know who I'm going to pick for that one yet. Houston's 0-2 going on the road to take on Jacksonville coming off a loss. So it'll be interesting to see there. AFC West matchup this week, Broncos, Chargers 1-1 versus 2-0. Saints, Seattle at 4:05, 1-1 hosting 0-2. America's Game of the Week, and it's a pretty bad America's Game of the Week. Dallas, Chicago. Obviously, Dallas draws a big audience whenever they're on America's Game of the Week. 1-1, they get a win versus the Giants versus Chicago, who's playing a pretty weak defense and has the perfect opportunity to get a win, or either get a win or play good offensively. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Week three divisional matchup, NFC West matchup, Cardinals, 49ers, both teams 2-0 in Santa Clara. Most likely Mac Jones in this game again. Sunday Night Football is pretty weak. Chiefs, Giants, I mean, the Chiefs are going to 0-3. The NFL's not letting that happen. They're going to win this game. And Monday Night Football, very, very, very good game on Monday Night Football. Lions, Ravens, 1-1 versus 1-1 in M&T Bank Stadium in an interconference matchup where both teams have Super Bowl aspirations. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman will be calling that one. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's episode of the 365 Recap. If you can't tell, my voice is shot. I'm sick. But no matter what, we will be back Thursday with our week three game picks. We have Miami and Buffalo on Thursday night, AFC East matchup. We're gonna throw some cheddar on that one, obviously. Um, But yeah, if you guys did enjoy the video, please like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications for more videos exactly like this. Game Picks Thursday, 365 Recap Episode 3 on Tuesday after the football weekend wraps up. And hope you all have a good night. I'll see y'all next time.